Hey there, Cinemaster fans! Hope you're ready for some movie magic? Let's dive right in. The story starts with Iris, an employee at a sports club. She's getting ready to take her daughter to work for the night shift, completely unaware that the city is undergoing a massive change as a mysterious zombie virus has been quietly spreading. Once they arrive at the club, Iris lets her daughter play in the basketball court while she goes on her usual patrol. However, just moments after Iris left, a strange figure appeared outside the window. At the same time, during her patrol, she noticed a violent attack happening on the street. Iris quickly dialed the police, only to find the call wouldn't go through. Left with no choice, she went to seek help from the security guard downstairs. The guard, however, wasn't concerned, thinking it was just some thugs fighting. He casually suggested that she just shut the doors to stay safe. Iris rushed to the security room and saw everything seemed fine with her daughter on the cameras. She decided to go down to lock the main doors first before heading back to get her daughter. But as she made her way to the basketball court, a zombie had already snuck in. When Iris arrived at the court, her daughter was nowhere to be found. Only her skateboard was left behind. Panicked, Iris called out loudly, but there was no response. Just then, a zombie suddenly appeared, racing down from the second floor. Iris initially mistook it for one of the thugs and yelled at it to leave. But as it got closer, she realized something was terribly wrong. The twisted, grotesque face of the zombie sent a chill down her spine. The next moment, the zombie lunged straight at her. In a panic, Iris swung the skateboard in her hand with all her might at the zombie, but it barely made a difference. Luckily, Iris knew the layout of the. She quickly dashed to the second floor and shut a steel door, temporarily blocking the zombie's path. When she looked outside again, she saw the security guard lying on the ground, and chaos had erupted on the streets. People were running for their lives in all directions. At that moment, Iris finally grasped the severity of the situation. Overcome with fear, her concern for her daughter grew even stronger. She hurried back to the security room, hoping to spot her daughter on the cameras. After frantically searching, she finally saw her in a warehouse. Thankfully, there was a phone in the warehouse. Iris quickly called her daughter and, when she answered, told her to lock the door and not to open it for anyone, no matter who it was, because she would be there soon. To be extra careful, Iris even set up a secret code for her daughter to use when she came to open the door. After hanging up the phone, the girl followed her mother's instructions and locked the door. However, within seconds, a zombie appeared outside, relentlessly banging against the door. Terrified, the girl hid in the corner. But the banging suddenly stopped. Just as she was about to check what happened, two large hands burst through the door, grabbing her and pulling her outside. Meanwhile, Iris was in an increasingly dangerous situation as well. A zombie appeared outside the security room, forcing her to quickly hide under the desk. The zombie broke into the room, searching for prey. Iris held her breath, trying not to make a sound. Just as the zombie seemed ready to leave, a cat suddenly wandered into the room. Though it didn't get near Iris, the zombie grabbed it and flung it across the room. The sight made Iris's heart race. The zombie didn't stop there. It walked up to the dying cat, picked it up again, and smashed it into the ground until it was dead. Then, oddly enough, the zombie just sat there, motionless, casting a strange and unsettling atmosphere over the room. Though Iris didn't understand what was happening, she knew this was her only chance to escape. Iris carefully crawled out from under the desk and quickly left the security room. After finding a safe spot, she pulled out her phone and started checking the surveillance footage. To her surprise, not only did the zombie from earlier exhibit that strange behavior, but all of the zombies seemed to pause after eating. Every time, they would freeze for exactly 32 seconds, like some sort of cool-down period. As Iris tried to make sense of this bizarre phenomenon, she suddenly heard a noise outside. Following the sound, she entered a bathroom, only to be knocked to the ground by a zombie that attacked her in one of the stalls. Just as it seemed like she was done for, a stranger appeared, pulling the zombie off her just in time. Iris quickly scrambled to her feet and ran for her life. But as she reached the edge of the swimming pool, the man unexpectedly shoved her in and then jumped in right after her. The zombie chasing them also tumbled into the pool. The man motioned for Iris to stay calm and pointed at the zombies struggling in the water. It turned out that zombies couldn't swim, and within less than a minute, it drowned. Taking advantage of the situation, the two of them climbed out of the pool. The man checked Iris's hands to make sure she wasn't infected. After talking for a bit, Iris learned that the man's name was Luis. He had been taking his pregnant wife to the hospital when they were attacked by zombies. In a panic, he had taken shelter in the sports club. Luis explained that his wife was about to give birth and begged Iris to help deliver the baby. Iris, however, was focused on finding her daughter, who was still missing. Luis promised that if Iris helped him, he would join her in searching for her daughter. reasoning that the more people looking, the better their chances. After weighing her options, Iris reluctantly agreed to help. The two changed out of their soaked clothes, and Luis led her to the room where his wife was resting. But as soon as Luis pulled back the curtain, Iris was struck with horror. Luis's wife had already been infected by the zombie virus. Despite this, Luis was still adamant that Iris helped deliver the baby. Iris, overwhelmed with fear and unease, wanted nothing more than to leave. But she quickly realized that Luis had locked the door behind them. No matter how much she pleaded, Luis remained cold and unresponsive. He even chillingly mentioned Iris's daughter by name. Iris was utterly shocked. She had never mentioned her daughter to Luis, so how did he know? It became clear that Luis had kidnapped her daughter. He threatened Iris, warning that if she didn't help him deliver the baby, she would never see her daughter again. With no other option, Iris reluctantly agreed to his demands. Together, Iris and Luis carried the pregnant woman to the medical room. As they passed by a seemingly abandoned pool, Iris noticed a man lying in it. He looked familiar. She stepped closer and was horrified to realize that it was her husband. He must have come to pick her up after work, only to fall victim to a zombie attack. As nearby zombies began to stir, Luis urged Iris to hurry. Iris took the car keys from her husband's pocket. Then, she reached into her bag and pulled out a smoke bomb, tossing it into the pool area. Thick smoke filled the air, disorienting the zombies and causing them to swarm into the clouded space. Using the smoke as cover, Iris and Luis managed to slip away unnoticed and escape the danger for the moment. Luis and Iris quickly reached the medical room, where Luis tied his wife securely to the bed and began to deliver the baby. Fortunately, little Luis was born safely. In a moment of misplaced tenderness, Luis decided to reward his wife by untying her restraints and offering her some food. After she finished eating, she entered the strange 32-second pause that the zombies experienced after feeding. Seizing the moment, Luis gently placed their newborn in her arms, allowing her to hold him briefly. As the 32-second countdown neared its end, Iris grew increasingly anxious. But before they could act, the power suddenly went out. When Iris turned on her flashlight, she was horrified to see that both Luis's wife and their baby had disappeared. Following the sound of movement, they found them nearby. The baby was unharmed for the moment, but Luis's wife had completely lost her humanity. Her eyes locked hungrily on her newborn son, as if he were her next meal. Realizing that his wife was beyond saving, Luis made the heart-wrenching decision to put her down. With his son safely in his arms, Luis, now a grieving father, found common ground with Iris, who had also suffered unimaginable loss. Instead of continuing to threaten her, Luis softened and finally revealed the location of Iris's daughter. Without wasting another moment, Iris rushed off to find her. Just as Iris reached the spot, she was met with a devastating sight. Her daughter's backpack lay abandoned on the ground, and a body was burning in the fire. The pain was unbearable. Iris broke down, screaming her daughter's name in agony. Her heart-wrenching cries echoed through the area, drawing the attention of nearby zombies. Iris stood up, staggering forward. Unable to cope with the crushing reality, she decided to end it all before the zombies could reach her. Slowly, she raised the gun, ready to pull the trigger. But at the very last second, she noticed something. A nearby fingerprint lock was blinking red, as if someone was trying to unlock it. A similar alarm was sounding from the door upstairs, suggesting another lock was being tampered with. Could it be her daughter? Iris's heart raced as she scanned the area and spotted a nearby room with a light on. She called out her daughter's name, but there was no response. Desperate, she knocked out the secret code they had prearranged. To her shock and relief, there was a response from inside the room. It was her daughter. Reunited at last, the two embraced, overwhelmed with emotion, but there was no time to grieve or celebrate. Iris quickly gathered her strength, took her daughter by the hand, and prepared to escape. As they prepared to cross the hallway, they were horrified to see it was packed with zombies. There was no way they could safely make it through such a dense crowd. Thinking quickly, Iris and her daughter ducked into a nearby room, hoping to wait it out until the zombies moved on. But to their surprise, the room was crawling with rats. Instead of panicking, Iris had a sudden idea. She quickly lit a fire, forcing the rats to flee from the room. As soon as the zombies spotted the rats, they instinctively lunged at the new meal, distracted and busy devouring them. Taking advantage of this chaos, Iris pulled out her phone and set a 32-second timer, perfectly matching the strange freeze period of the zombies. With their window of opportunity open, the mother and daughter tiptoed through the mass of frozen zombies, hearts pounding with every step. As they reached the final few feet to safety, the timer already halfway done, disaster struck. Out of nowhere, one of the zombies suddenly twitched and grabbed her daughter's hand. Iris desperately tried to pull her daughter free, but the grip was too strong. The seconds were ticking away, and the surrounding zombies were slowly beginning to wake up. In a panic, Iris initially thought of shooting the zombie, But to her horror, she realized the gun was out of bullets. With no other option, she swung the gun with all her might, smashing it into the zombie and finally managing to break free. Grabbing an iron rod from the ground, she and her daughter bolted through the horde. However, the zombies were relentless, chasing them without pause. As they ran, Iris tried to create obstacles to slow the zombies down, but her efforts did little to deter the swarm. The mother and daughter eventually made it to the basketball court, only to find more zombies pouring in from all sides. They raced to the exit, only to find it blocked by an abandoned ambulance. Luckily, they could crawl through the front windshield to escape. With the zombies closing in fast, Iris slammed the ambulance's back doors shut, temporarily keeping the creatures at bay. She planned to use her husband's car to make their escape, but upon reaching it, she discovered the tires were completely destroyed. Despite the setback, Iris ushered her daughter into the car, covering all the windows with white sheets in a desperate attempt to hide from the zombies. She started the engine and floored it. The zombies quickly surrounded the car, but when they finally flung open the doors, they found it completely empty. It turned out that Iris and her daughter had set a trap. The two of them had escaped through a manhole in the back of the vehicle, slipping into the sewers below. In the damp, dark tunnels, the mother and daughter unexpectedly ran into Luis, who had already fled down there. But Luis had grim news. While protecting his newborn, little Luis, he had been bitten and was now infected by the zombie virus. With little time left, Luis entrusted his child to Iris and told her to head to the docks. If she could get to the boat, they could escape the city and finally be safe. Before he could say much more, a zombie had already chased them into the sewer. The eerie, relentless approach of the creature sent a chill down Iris's spine. But knowing she had to protect her daughter, she bravely charged forward, prepared for a final, desperate fight. In a terrifying turn of events, the zombie overpowered her in seconds, throwing Iris to the ground and viciously pinning her, delivering a brutal beating. Fortunately, after knocking Iris down, the zombie didn't immediately start feeding but fell back into its 32-second stationary state. Seizing this brief respite, her daughter rushed to check on her mother, relieved to find that Iris was still alive, though badly injured. Iris quickly instructed her daughter to take advantage of the zombie's temporary immobility and deal with it once and for all. Despite her fear, the daughter mustered up her courage, grabbed a nail gun from the ground, and as the zombie was about to awaken, she took decisive action and eliminated it. With their lives spared for now, the mother and daughter embraced tightly, their bond strengthened by their ordeal. Together, they took little Luis and made their way towards the docks. If you liked the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification button so you never miss an updates. See you.